even in the period of the Crusades, relations between Christianity and Islam and between Christian leaders and Islamic leaders were exceptionally complicated, and all the way around the Mediterranean, in cities such as Alexandria, Aleppo, Jaffa, Beirut, Smyrna, Salonika, and Istanbul, Jews and Christians and Muslims constantly got on, did business, talked to each other. So again, we want to be very careful about talking about an eternal, perpetual conflict between Christianity and Islam, which seems to me deeply and fundamentally to misrepresent what has on the whole been the general nature of that relationship. And in any case, then as now, and then as before, religion has never been the only single identity that people have embraced, which determines all their behaviour and how they live all their lives. Well, I could make the same case about the nation. If one thinks of "I vow to thee my country," a hymn that was sung at Margaret Thatcher's funeral only a week ago, the claim that one's national identity is more important than any other. Well, maybe sometimes, but most of the time I suspect not. Against that, one might put a quotation from the French historian Ernest Renan. Being a nation means getting your history wrong. By which he meant that the process of being a nation means constructing a historical narrative which is bound to be deeply selective. Or take class. The history of all hitherto existing society is the history of class struggles, according to Karl Marx. Well, it can't be that if it's about nations or if it's about religion. They can't all be right. And very few people today, I think, would now agree with Marx's claim that the history of all hitherto existing society is, as I would want to put it, the history of class identities and class struggles. Here's Gareth Stedman Jones, himself once a Marxist, but no more. Much of what was first put forward in the Communist Manifesto and later accepted as a common sense understanding of the making of the modern world and patterns of human behaviour belongs more to the realm of mythology than of fact. Or take gender. Germaine Greer. Before you are of any race, nationality, religion, party or family, you are a woman. Well, it's not for me to say, but I'm quoting her saying that. But is that right? Well, here's an Oxford University Press publication called Feminism, A Very Short Introduction, which has this quotation. Contrary to the best interests of sisterhood, not all women share identical interests. But in support, as it were, oddly, of Germaine Greer, I could cite John Gray. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. Now there's a binary, dichotomized view of the world, if ever there was one. Is that a sensible way of thinking about the world? I don't think it is. Here's Bernice Reagan with a rather different view. Every time you see a woman, you're looking at a human being who is like you in only one respect, but may be totally different from you in 3 or 4 or several others. Or take race. Here's Robert Knox in the 1840s, that race is in human affairs everything is simply a fact, the most remarkable, the most comprehensive, which philosophy has announced. And in case his meaning wasn't plain, he went on to say, race is everything. Well, can that be true if class is everything, or if gender is everything, or if nation is everything, or religion is everything? It's hard to see how that's kind of going to work. And here is Jacques Barzin in a wonderfully prescient observation in 1937. Race, he said, on the contrary, is a superstition on a par with horoscopes. A satisfactory definition of race is simply not to be had. A brilliantly prescient observation in the light of more recent work on the Human Genome Project, which has pointed out that 99.9% of the genes of a so-called black person are the same as the genes of a white person.